Welcome back. It's time once again for a Blue Nation favorite. It is, of course, time for picks. Please welcome again to the program Dan Zons and Justin Narveson. Let's get started here. First of all, where the week gets started, Thursday Night Football, and another great Thursday night matchup.
Thank you, Amazon.
Thank you, Mr. Bezos. It'll be the Falcons and the Panthers. Dan, you're the rookie here on Blue Nation. We'll start off with you. Who you got?
Of course, I could just go on and on about how Jeff Bezos made the greatest decision of his life by picking all these great Thursday Night Football games. However, I will instead throw out this wonderful pick, Falcons over Panthers. Why, you may ask? Cordell Patterson. He looked like he just looked crazy out there on the field. I know the running game hasn't been like the run first, throw later. Falcons run hasn't been like working very well, but I think against the Panthers it's going to do great, especially because P.J. Walker isn't it, and if Baker Mayfield does come back, he is not it either.
You forgot about Sam Darnold.
So did the rest of us. To be clear.
Yeah, this is gonna be atrocious. It could either be a barn burner and just like so many touchdowns scored, or it's gonna be the lowest scoring game of all time. I hope for the latter, and that is at least an interesting Thursday Night Football game. But neither of these teams has stakes already 10 weeks into the season. I'm gonna pick the Panthers, though. I mean, I think since they've dealt McCaffrey, that offense has actually looked decent. With DJ Moore and Deonta Foreman, I don't know what they were doing with McCaffrey that changed everything, but I'm fine with going with the Panthers. PJ Walker seems decent at least.
I do like PJ Walker, but I also like Marcus Mariota. Excuse me as I dig for something in my pocket. I've got a plan for this, I promise. But to me, these two teams are just abysmal, and there's no getting around that. So I've got this shiny quarter from the year before I was born, and we're going to flip a coin, all right? Heads, I forgot who's playing. Heads, Panthers, tails, Falcons.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, we'll do that. Let's hope this doesn't sound too bad on the mics. I didn't drop it that time. It's heads. Who did I say that was?
Panthers.
Panthers.
The home team.
We're picking the Panthers. Now we move on to the Germany game this season, and a game that I think is actually going to be pretty interesting. The Seahawks will be at, in quotes, the Buccaneers. Justin, you're minoring in German. Take it away.
I'm not going to say this in German because I did not put no thought into this episode. But it's going to be the Seahawks roll Geno roll. He's been on fire. I see him keeping on fire against this Buccaneers defense that's beat up and hasn't looked the same all year long. I think the Seahawks just kind of take this one. I mean, they've looked good. They've looked shaky at points, but they've looked solid, and I think that's what happens here.
Well, I'm going to have to agree with Justin on this one. I mean, roll Geno. Literally, Geno is that guy. He is him. That is him. And I made the comparison last week that was a little bit of a meme to call Tom Brady a museum artifact, and he is still a museum artifact. He probably should have retired back when he retired the first time. Now he's going to have to retire again, and he's not going to look exactly – he's not going to be in the same light. I don't know if this really tarnishes his legacy, but it's a whole other discussion. Seahawks over Buccaneers, probably not by much, though.
Yeah, this is going to be close. It's so hard not to like the Seahawks. The city of Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, Geno Smith, everything to do with that franchise. I even like Pete Carroll. I just love the Seahawks. What? Whatever.
As a Packer fan, I don't know.
Even all that notwithstanding, I think that they're an intensely likable franchise. And we're going 3 for 3. I'm picking the Seahawks, too. Do I think that they're a better team than the Buccaneers? Not really. I think that the Bucs still have the edge on paper. But if any team can sneak out a win when they're not supposed to, as they've done literally all season throughout the first 9 weeks, Seattle's going to do it. I'm picking the Seahawks by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see that Halloween interview with Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Geno all at one? Team chemistry sometimes went out, and that's why things happening in Seattle right now.
Yeah, we wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah, Geno's jaw's not getting punched in this one. I can tell you that.
I forgot that happened. That's a blast
Just
from the
think,
past.
he could have been a Jets legend. Instead, it was
They broke it.
Fitzmagic.
Oh man, Google that one if you're not old enough to remember it.
Oh,
Anyway, we get back to the normal slate of Sunday games, and we get into one that has, of course, a big amount of importance. Two teams who have only lost once. Actually, the Bills have lost twice, never mind, because they lost last week. But the Vikings taking on the Buffalo Bills. Dan, it's back to you. Who you got?
I think the Vikings' luck streak runs out here. They're not the greatest 7-1 team I've seen in a while, but they still are a pretty well put together team. I will say, even as a Packers fan, they're a division rival. You see them play all the time. And let me just say, they are not a well put together team, and they've been really lucky with some of these. They almost lost to Washington last week, as Justin pulls out his phone.
Yeah, I'm a little distracted by what he's doing. I think he's going to...
I think he's going to do a little bit.
As always, we don't talk through these, so Justin's just kind of, as we all are, flying by the seat of his pants. We'll get to what he's got for us, but continue your thoughts, Dan.
I think the Bills go out on top of... the Bills are going to come out on top over the Vikings, probably I'd say over 3 touchdowns, to be honest. I don't have very much confidence in the Vikings, to be honest. They just, I don't know. They're barely winning these games against terrible teams, so I don't know. Maybe they could be the same route as where the Packers are going, but I mean, it's pretty late in the season now.
Absolutely. Justin, are you ready for it? If not, I can take it.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Well, I mean, just looking at the schedule, the only loss being to the Eagles, but they haven't really played anyone great outside of the Dolphins, who were down 2-0 in that game, and they barely beat the Dolphins. Every game they've won has been within a score. I think this Vikings team is kind of playing above their pay grade right now, and I don't think it lasts much longer. And I think they got a tough run of games coming up here. I mean, you got Bills, Jets, Colts. It's going to be a tough run, I think, here. I think the Vikings start to realize that, hey, we're a little overrated at the moment. Time to come back down to earth.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you guys. I think that the Vikings are you remember the last couple of years we've had the Steelers and the Cardinals go out to these big winning streaks and then get exposed to be frauds, flame out, and we never hear from those teams again, right? That's what's happened the last couple of years with those teams. I think that the Vikings are this year's equivalent of that for all the reasons we've just mentioned. Getting back to the picks thing, we know that I am not going to pick the Vikings on this program at all this year. So this is all just an exercise in futility. Plus, I'm a Bills fan. My dad's from Buffalo. That's even if Josh Allen's UCL damage is worse than they say it is, and even if by some stretch he needs Tommy John surgery, throwing with his left arm he could beat this team. I'm picking the Bills by 1 billion. Pretty bold, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd still take Josh Allen with the UCL surgery over Kirk Cousins, and that's just me. I don't know. He's not that guy to me. He hasn't been that guy to me, but
That plane video didn't change your mind?
Oh.
What video? Definitely didn't see that.
We move on now to America's Game of the Week, and it's a familiar matchup, especially for those of us from Wisconsin. The Cowboys travel to Lambeau to take on the Packers. Justin, talk us through this one.
I really don't know how to feel about this. I mean, the Packers' offense has looked atrocious, and the defense has looked solid at times, but that run defense is still so bad that I don't know how you fix that at the moment, especially with so many guys being out injured. I mean, Dobbs out, Rashawn Gary's now out for the year. It's just the Packers have had the worst luck this year, and it's been tough to see. But you never know with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. It could turn at one moment. We've seen that time and time again. RELAX, run the table. It happens time and time again with him at the helm. I don't know if it's this year, but if it was to be this year, this is the week to do it. I'm going to shakily pick the Packers here to pull one off, even through all the injuries, and your two best receivers at the moment, not Lazard, but Dobbs and Cobb out. I'm going to shakily lean the Packers.
All right. Dan, what about you?
I am on the same line, but I have stronger feelings towards the Packers winning this one than the Cowboys, to be honest. And that's just because of the track record. And I'm just going to go off of that. And I know Packers very injured. Packers not looking like the best team out there. But if there's a game that's going to snap like a, 5-6 game losing streak now, this is the game to do it. This is Aaron Rodgers, Magic Man, who's had he has got 4-1 in the last 5 matchups against the Cowboys, including the playoffs. No matter what, no matter if the Packers have everyone with a broken leg like Greg Jennings once had running down the field, I would still take the Packers over the Cowboys. So lock it.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we're all Scotties. These picks aren't going to surprise anyone. We're all kind of homers too. And we admit that. But, and don't get me wrong, the Cowboys, they're for real this year. Dak Prescott and company, they are for real. But even if this game isn't being played down in Dallas at Jerry World, at AT&T Stadium, which Aaron Rodgers absolutely owns, he still owns the Cowboys. Dez didn't catch it, and that was at Lambeau. I mean, time in and time out, Aaron Rodgers has just shown up and played some of his best football of his career, game in and game out, against the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't know if he's going to do that this week, but I'd rather pick him than pick against him. So all three of us picking the Packers again. Sunday Night Football brings us to a nice Western matchup, interconference, but still. It'll be the Los Angeles Chargers traveling up to Northern California to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Justin, actually, no, you started the last one. Dan, take us through it.
I gotta go 49ers, honestly. I haven't seen it with the Chargers. They were supposed to be such a great team. You know all the hype they had? They got Khalil Mack. They were supposed to have they kind of got a top 10 defense, but really that's not going to carry them anywhere. As Justin fact checks me really quick. I still think the Chargers will put up a little bit of a fight, but man, Justin Herbert has not looked the same. I thought he was going to be I thought he was going to be in the running for the MVP conversation this year. Instead, he's barely winning some of these games that he should be winning by I don't know, maybe 2 scores, maybe more. And the other ones he's just losing. He just doesn't look great at all. So I got to go Niners. That Niners defense is still Niners defense that we've always seen. Still got that great 100% defense.
They're a bottom 5 defense.
So I was wrong.
Yeah, they have been atrocious in points per game and overall yards per game. They're bottom 15 in yards per game and bottom 3 in points per game.
But they have the assets to have a top 10 defense. They just, for whatever reason, injuries, of course, and just, I don't know, wear and tear, old players too. They're just not making it.
Or their play caller sucks.
Just a little bit of both.
All right, Justin, if you're so smart, what's your pick, though?
It's the 49ers by a mile. This is going to be a no-brainer. I mean, 49ers plus Run CMC and Debo coming back. I don't know how you stop that. That 3-headed monster of an offense with Debo, CMC, and Kittle. It's going to be tough to stop that no matter what team it is. And we saw what McCaffrey did last week, or the week before the bye, receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown, passing touchdown. First time since 2005 anyone's ever done that. He's such a utility for them, and it's such a massive weapon to have on that good of an offense already. Sure, that defense might not be up to crack, but that offense is going to run through this Chargers defense like a hot knife through butter. It's going to be atrocious to see that game. It's not even going to be close.
All right. I hear what you're saying. I hear what both of you are saying. I'm going to go differently. I'm going to pick the Los Angeles Chargers. This is my upset of the week. I don't know why. I don't have any reason to do it, but I got a good feeling about Justin Herbert. I don't think that things are quite so bad as for the other team in SoFi Stadium as we think they are. And I don't think, to be honest with you, I'm not quite so sold on the 49ers. They have a lot of good players, and they've got a lot of highlights. They just don't seem to have that spark to me. And the Chargers, they've got a charge. That was too cheesy for me to say with a straight face, but you know what? I'm going with it. Chargers by 3. And last of all, Monday Night Football with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. It'll be the Washington Commanders against the Philadelphia Eagles. Justin, we start with you.
Your upset of the week was Chargers. My upset of the week's Commanders, baby. Ride, baby, ride. This team's up for sale now. New turn of face going for the Commanders. I'm predicting a win out for the rest of the year, and I think they beat the Eagles here and somehow take the NFC East. That's my prediction. I think the Eagles crash and burn, and the Commanders ride high the rest of the year. This is what happens when you have a bad owner and you sell. Your team gets better, right?
They haven't sold yet. Did you listen to the
It's
first?
on sale.
Did you listen to the first
It's
part of the
for sale,
show?
all right? They're one step closer. This Eagles game is going to be the turning point, and then Dan Snyder, worst owner in the NFL, will sell them at the highest moment.
Okay, well,
And then they're going to roll.
I've got a lot of thoughts about this, but we've got to get to Dan first.
Yeah, so I had the same idea as Justin. I was going to pick this as my upset of the week beforehand, too. But I'm not going to do it anymore because I need to be against the grain, too. So I'm going to go Eagles, and it's for all the obvious reasons. They are a great team. Obviously, they haven't been really... They are a great team. I don't want to hear it, Heineke season. It's over. The Eagles are going to murder the Commanders, absolutely murder the Commanders, and they're going to want to sell the team. It's going to make Dan Snyder sell that team after how bad they beat them. I'm talking maybe even 50-0.
Hey, the running back got shot in the leg. He's back now. It's time to go, baby.
And he hasn't even been utilized, though, is the thing. They haven't been
now.
utilized.
Ron Rivera is going to utilize him now, all right?
Riverboat Ron has not been doing very well either, though. I will say Jalen Hurts has looked absolutely wonderful this season, and if there was like a comeback player of the year, I'd say it was him, to be honest.
Okay, all right, we've got to close out this show before you guys say anything else equally headless. Did you guys like forget your clown noses and wigs in the car or something?
It's one pick, Noah. One pick.
One pick. Did you just hear what you said? Were you lucid enough to like? The Eagles are good. The Commanders aren't. Leave it at that. That closes the book on another episode of Blue Nation. I've done all the damage I can do. These guys have done even more damage. To find more episodes of Blue Nation and other great TV10 content, visit us at mytv10.uwec.edu. For Dan, Justin, all the rest of us in the control room, and all the rest of us here in the studio, I'm Noah Schwartz. Good night, everybody.